Hi everyone, and welcome back to My Hero Academia Podfics. Today I'm going to be reading one of my favorite ongoing fics right now. It's not completed by any means, but it's about 13 chapters in. It's a really solid start, and I really enjoyed this AU. Today I'm going to be reading Deku D.O by Bephacrixion HebrewShira on AO3. I definitely butchered those names, and I'm sorry in advance. The summary for this fic is as follows. You work as a surgeon for an illegal underground clinic. It just so happens that this clinic here is mostly illegal. There's a big difference between mostly illegal and all illegal. Mostly illegal is still legal. Problem child. Izuku secretly spends his nights working for an underground hospital which serves quirkless patients, people without insurance, and those who would prefer to avoid the eyes of the law. However, after years of hard work keeping his nighttime activities a secret, his hero work and nightlife start to collide. This is Deku D.O, Chapter 1, The Night Shift. The snap of latex against skin cut through the droning hum of the broken LED. Scrubbing in. I'm a half hour into a 10-hour shift, and I already have 2 emergency appendectomies, Izuku groaned as he scrubbed his arms. Not to mention, we got an extra assignment in English today, so I'll only get about 3.5 hours of sleep tonight, if I'm lucky. You getting off soon, Ito-san? 10 minutes or so, Ito Junichiro grinned, shrugging off his pink nursing scrubs. I have some paperwork to file on this last patient before I can go, but I'll leave the rest for Michi-kun to deal with. Poor Michi-san, Izuku curled his lips into a smirk. What is it this time? Minor case of intestinal parasites, no biggie, but I'd stay out of the exam room 3 until Michi-kun gets there with the Lysol. Fun, Izuku grimaced. Well, enjoy your evening. Oh yeah, Chinese takeout and 5 hours of sleep, here I come, Ito-san gave Izuku a jaunty wave before heading towards the door. By the way, the shop is going to start selling a new limited-time all-night promotional poster tomorrow. I can pull one aside for you if you want. Have I ever said no to limited edition all-night merch? If I didn't get into UA, I'd probably be gunning for your job just so I could get the employee discount. Hey, I work 2 jobs for the price of 1. I deserve my Mighty Tower gift shop discount. Not right now, you don't. Your shift ended 40 minutes ago. Go home and sleep. I'll catch you during my double this weekend. Without checking to see if Ito took his advice, Izuku shook out his hands and pushed into the operating room. While the room was spotless, the overhead light flickered ominously, and the checkered blue floor tiles were cracked. All of the surgical equipment lined the far wall, a tray with an array of scalpels, forceps, and clamps, a monitor connected to an old laparoscopic camera, which tended to flicker and blur when overused, a ring light jerry-rigged to an umbrella stand, and an old bypass machine that had clearly seen better days. Most surgeons would consider the room's equipment archaic, but Izuku lovingly referred to it as 21st century vintage. In the center of the room was a metal gurney-turned operating table with the patient, an older, slightly overweight man with his thinning gray hair sprawled out on top of it. An IV hung from his limp arm. Ah, good, Zuku-sensei, Yoshida Nanami, a young nurse, chirped from next to the patient. I'm afraid it's just the 2 of us today. We were supposed to have Subura-sensei with us, but she was called away to exam room 2. Apparently the patient had an allergic reaction to their antibiotic, and since she's the head nurse on call, it's fine, Izuku shrugged. It won't be the first time we've had to operate shorthanded. Not ideal, but given everything, it's honestly a miracle we have the staff we do. Patient info. Hirota Shigeo, male, 51-year-old, 152 kilograms, quirkless, obviously, since he has an appendix for us to remove. Blood type A, negative. Came in complaining of vomiting and acute abdominal pain and was seen by Todoroki-sensei, who had an ultrasound diagnosed with patient with appendicitis. Patient was admitted for an emergency appendectomy and was administered 76 milligrams of propofol 2 minutes ago, with automatic bolus doses every 3 minutes. All surgical tools have been accounted for. Great. Please hand me the number 3 scalpel and turn on the voice recorder. Good to go. Excellent. I'll begin by making a small incision under the patient's navel. Izuku didn't hesitate as he made the first cut into the patient's abdomen. I'll need a Vera's needle, a Kelly, and 2 towel clips. Thanks. Izuku inserted the needle into the incision. Beautiful. Okay. I need an S retractor and a trocar. Yoshida pressed a curved metal strip in the shape of an S and a small plastic port in Izuku's hand. Izuku used the S retractor to hold the incision open as he gingerly slid in the port. Great. First trocar is in. Laparoscope? Thanks. All right, I'm feeding the laparoscope into the initial trocar, and there. Now let's see what we've got. Izuku turned his head to look at the monitor. That's not too bad, Yoshida hummed. Only moderately inflamed and low risk of post-operative peritonitis. We should be able to do this in 3 incisions, easy. Can you handle the suction while passing me the trocars? Do I have a choice? Not particularly, no. Then sure, no biggie. Right, Izuku rolled his eyes. Oi, no teenage affections in the OR, Yoshida chided. Izuku made contact before slowly rolling his eyes again. Have a trocar ready. I'm making the second incision now. Izuku bit his lip as he slowly pressed the scalpel into the patient's skin, slicing through layers of skin and subcutaneous fat. Trocar. All right. And now the third incision. And the last trocar, please? Great. Thanks. Need needle driver and add some pickup? Way ahead of you, boss. Thanks. All right. I'm beginning to amputate the appendix. Come on. Gotcha. All right. I'm done with the suture loop. Scissors? Straight right? Yep. Here you go. Okay, just a small snip and onto the fun part, squeezing an enlarged appendix through a 2.5 centimeter incision. Only you would think that's fun, Zuku-sensei. Yeah, I'm a nerd, we know. Easy now, all right? Suture kit? Now, let me just close Hiroto-san real quick and done. That's tonight's first appendectomy done with tool count? Give me a sec here. We can't all be geniuses like you, Yoshida grumbled. All accounted for. Great. Have whoever's available take Hiroto-san to recovery and run him off his anesthetic. He should be ready to discharge in a few hours. Standard appendectomy recovery procedures. No worries, I can take him right now. Nice try, Yoshida-san, Izuku huffed. As the operating nurse, you get the honor of disposing of Hiroto-san's appendix in the bio-waste receptacle and sanitizing the OR. Ugh, I bet you doctors get your jollies by forcing us poor nurses to wipe up guts all day. You say that like I didn't spend years of my childhood doing just that. Plus, if anyone takes any enjoyment from that, it's Ito-san. Poor Michi-san can never catch a break. I mean, fair, but just 'cause he's the new guy, he'll figure out how to get Ito-kun back soon enough. You keep on believing that. Anyways, I have another appendectomy in 20, so I need to clean up. See you in a few? No thanks. I think I'll find a nice sprained ankle instead. No blood, minimal cleanup. Well, good luck with that. You'll have to race Michi-san for it. Ichi-san stuck him with the cleanup for that intestinal parasites case in exam room 3. Ugh, yuck. Now shoot, didn't you have another surgery? Yeah, I'm off, Izuku grimaced, exiting the OR into the dressing room and tossing the bloody gloves into the biohazard waste bin. No rest for the weary. Oi, Zuku-kun, a cheery voice called from the dressing room. Finished up? Hey, Natsuo-senpai. Izuku grinned at his friend. Just cleaning up now. What's up? Things slowed down a bit, so Takahashi-sensei is covering your second appendectomy. I'm going to go on break, but I have a patient with a moderate staph infection secondary to psoriasis in 2 who had an allergic reaction to vancomycin just over an hour ago. We switched him to daptomycin, which he's responding well to, but he'll need a final look over before discharge if you have a moment. Yeah, sure thing. Enjoy your break. I wish. My biophysics midterms are coming up, so cup noodles and studying for me. Natsuo-kun, you literally moonlight as a doctor in a very busy, only mostly legal ER. Somehow, I think you're going to do fine on your biophysics exam. Yeah, but Zuku-kun, I don't want to be a shady unlicensed underground doctor. I want to be a shady licensed underground doctor. And apparently, medical students are expected to pass biophysics in order to get their licenses, despite the fact that we will literally never use it in practice, ergo studying. Sometimes I wonder about you. Fuck you, Green Bean. No thanks, I'd rather fuck your brother, Natsuo snorted. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Shoto is the literal definition of a virgin. I have to give him the talk a couple weeks ago because Fumi realized Dad probably never did. Kid didn't believe me when I told him where babies come from. Where did he think babies come from? Izuku asked in confusion. You know what? Knowing Shoto-kun, I don't want to know. I've seen his conspiracy board. Oh no, if I have to suffer through this conversation, then you have to suffer through this conversation. Apparently, Shoto thought that the term delivery meant that children were ordered online from hospitals and shipped to their parents. Wait, what? But he knows about genetics and stuff. I know, because he's talked about your parents' quirk marriage. You know those DNA testing companies that send you those kits to test your saliva? You're kidding. Please tell me you're joking. Nope, he had the whole bullshit process outlined and everything. Maybe I should leave an anonymous note for Aizawa-sensei, suggesting that UA does some basic sex ed. I mean, I know Shoto-kun is usually sheltered, but better safe than sorry, especially since we all live with each other now. I mean, I'm all for comprehensive sex ed in school, of course. That means you'll have to sit through it too, but what do you want to bet that Midnight Sensei volunteers to teach it? You know what? You were right earlier. Fuck me. Well, I'll leave you with that horrifying thought. Tsutomu-kun has the paperwork you need. Great, thanks. Best of luck with your studying. Izuku quickly finished changing and washing his hands before heading out to grab his new patient's chart. Yo, Tsutomu-kun, have you got a patient for me? Sure do, Zuzubin, and he's a real cutie too. Natsumura Tsutomi had a large personality. If asked, Izuku would describe him as flamboyant. Natsu would probably use the words flaming gay. He stood at over 6 feet tall with bulking muscles and a shaved head. His hand tie-dyed scrub served as a bright contrast to his dark skin, and he was liberal with application of makeup in various luminescent shades. Tsutomi-kun served as the night shift administrator, meaning he handled the front desk and patient intake. He was a natural with the patients, but his supernatural ability to get doctors to turn their paperwork in on time was his most impressive skill. If Izuku didn't know better, he'd say it was his quirk. Yeah, because a facial staph infection is real cute, Izuku snorted, peering at the file handed to him. Izuku froze, eyes widening. Something wrong, hon? Let's just say I have a history with this patient. It would be a conflict of interest for me to treat him. Really? You strike me as the type who would treat your enemies on the battlefield. Well, luckily for you, you're not going to treat him. You're just going through with his discharge paperwork with him. You're right. I swore when I took this job I'd take care of all who walk through our doors equally, no matter who they are. And I meant that. It's his reaction I'm worried about. Maybe if I wear a disguise? No, that's weird. What about a surgical mask and cap? I could pretend to have a cold. Zuzubin, you're mumbling again. Oh, sorry. Don't worry about it. I think I figured it out. Just leave it to me, yeah? All right, hon, if you're sure. In that case, I bestow upon you the most important quest. Hearken, for I, Matsumuro Tsutomi, do charge you to wield this mighty weapon known as paperwork and discharge the patient. I accept this quest, verily, and will set off at once. Izuku laughed, grabbing the file from Tsutomi-kun and marching off toward exam room 2. On his way, Izuku snagged a surgical mask and cap and a pair of gloves from a medical cart, which he put on. He then removed his ID from his chest and slipped it into a square pocket. Standing in front of the door, Izuku took a deep breath before knocking twice. Come in. Stealing his nerves, Izuku entered the room. Shigaraki Tomura-san? Izuku asked in a low voice, already knowing the answer. Inside the exam room, Shigaraki sat perched on an exam table, Kurogiri shifting ominously in the chair next to him. Yeah, who are you, NPC? I'm one of the doctors on staff. I'm here to go through your discharge paperwork with you, Izuku replied, purposely withholding his name. About time. I was supposed to be back at the back to my home base hours ago. I apologize for any inconvenience, but it is hospital policy to keep you a while for monitoring in case you have a recurrence of your allergic reaction. Normally, we'd like to keep you for 4 hours rather than 2, but unfortunately, due to our quasi-illegal status, we don't have the resources. You seem to have responded well to the epinephrine injection and new antibiotic, but I'm going to send you home with an EpiPen just in case your allergy symptoms come back. Have you ever used one before? No, Shigaraki grumbled, and my HP is fine. I don't need it. Now, Tomura, Kurogiri interrupted, I am aware of your distaste for needles, but Sensei would be most pleased if you perished while he was indisposed. Izuku grimaced under his mask. If he let Shigaraki leave without his EpiPen, then he'd be a pretty terrible doctor. On the other hand, if Shigaraki wanted to leave against medical advice and had another allergic reaction, it would prevent him from attacking UA anytime soon. Izuku sighed. Why did he have to have morals? Shigaraki-san, you like gaming, right? Think of it as a gather quest. You have to find all the knowledge in the prescriptions and put them all together like a riddle. When you do, you'll get a health buff. A health buff, huh? Shigaraki hummed. Fine, where can I get this EpiPen? The administrator wearing the tie-dye at the front desk has your prescriptions, but you must, receive my blessing. Did that sound like something an NPC in a game would say? Close enough. Kurogiri discreetly gave Izuku an encouraging thumbs up from behind Shigaraki. And wasn't that something? Getting encouragement from a villain who gave him weeks of nightmares. And how do I get your blessing? Shigaraki ground his teeth. You must listen to my information and complete your discharge paperwork, Izuku demanded. Now, let me show you how to use an EpiPen. And remember, due to your higher risk for staph and other skin infections, which sap your HP, so wash your hands frequently and your face twice daily, and for the love of God, try not to scratch, Izuku ranted. Yeah, Shigaraki sighed. Can I go now? I mean it. File down your fingernails, play with fidget toys, put on a cold compress on your neck, whatever helps. But scratching is one way ticket back here, and I don't want to see you around here if I don't have to. And wasn't that the most honest thing Izuku had said all night? Izuku waited for Shigaraki to nod in understanding before continuing. All right, this concludes your leg of the quest. Next you must venture to the front desk and trade in this paperwork for your prescriptions. Finally, come, Kurogiri, let's get out of this dungeon. Izuku waited for the door to shut behind the two before peeling off his face mask and slumping to the floor. Holy crap. He almost couldn't believe Shigaraki didn't recognize him. It was probably only the fact that no one would expect a hero student to be working in a quasi-illegal underground clinic that saved him. There was a knock on the door. Izuku-sensei, are you in there? Yoshida-san's voice rang out from the other side. Yeah, Izuku groaned. Yoshida opened the door. Someone just came in with a compound tibia fibula fracture. We've managed to stem the bleeding, but it's going to need to be set surgically. Lucky me. Izuku pulled himself off the floor. Well, no rest for the weary. Let's go. By the way, Izuku-sensei, I heard you did a great job with your last patient, the one with the staph infection. I overheard that the guy who looks like he's made of mist, who I guess is his dad or something, talking to Tsutomu-kun. Apparently, he's never heard of a doctor that was able to connect with his kid or get him to comply so well. He mentioned that he was going to bring the kid here from now on just to see you. Was this shift cursed or something? And Izuku still had another 7 hours to go. Fuckity fuck. That concludes Chapter 1 of Deku D.O. I really, really do like this fanfic. I think it's got a lot of great humor to it, and it really creates another perspective of the My Hero Academia universes that is really unique. I just really like it. That's all I'm going to do here for Part 1. I'd like to continue this and go on with the rest of the chapters as the author updates as well. So I'll be dropping a new video for Part 2, Chapter 2, as soon as possible. I hope you guys enjoy, and as always, feel free to drop your comments or recommendations, on any other fics that you would like to hear. I love hearing other people's ideas on fics that they think are good, especially if I haven't heard of it before. It gives me more reading material anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I was struggling so hard not to laugh through this, and I appreciate any feedback you guys have. Thanks so much.